Good morning. It is a good morning, and I am looking forward to the day ahead, and I'm looking forward to the couple days ahead because today's Sunday, and on Tuesday I get to go back to Texas to be with my husband. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. I was at the beach with my daughter and granddaughter last night. That was glorious. And I went to bed with a glucose of 75. And so I'm going to turn the camera around in a second and show you my taking my morning fasting glucose. I've actually already been, I got up and got showered, and I've been in the kitchen making a big breakfast to have before church. I cooked some quinoa in the Instant Pot. That I'd soaked the quinoa, started soaking it last night, and then cooked it this morning in the Instant Pot, and I'm going to have that with some, I'm actually going to have it with sweetened kefir because I don't have any unsweetened almond milk, and the kefir that I'm going to sweeten, it's going to be done with stevia. Then so I'll have the cold kefir with some hot quinoa in it, and then I'm going to slice a peach over the top of that and probably sprinkle some chopped walnuts or something for more texture. I like texture. And then I've made another batch of the protein crepes, and so I will have those with cinnamon and allulose and nutmeg, cinnamon, nutmeg, and allulose. I'll roll those up, and that will give me a great, good amount of protein to have with my breakfast, and that will be my first meal of the day. And I'm interested to see what will happen to my glucose after that. And I don't know if I'll have another meal or not today. Oh, and then I can update you on the weight. I went on the scale this morning because I was in the bathroom. So I'm pulling up my Renfo record, and this morning's weight was 139.4. Yesterday it was, I'm trying to tap on it, 139.6. So down 0.2 of a pound. And I'll go ahead and I'll turn the camera around, show you that weight scale just kind of coming down during the past 2 weeks. Today's day 16. I don't even know if I started my video that way. Day 16 of my 30-day challenge. And I just kind of come down steadily, not steadily. I've had some ups and downs in the 16 days. So I'll show you that on the camera, and then I'll show you my morning fasting glucose on the camera. And I'm going to go in and enjoy that big breakfast that I've prepared. So here we go, turning the camera around. All right, there's an image of my weight from when I started day 1 on July 15th. I was at DFW Airport making that first recording and flying here to LA. And then I've ended, well, not ended, but today is day 16, July 31st, and I'm at 139.4. I know that the other dot doesn't show you the weight, so let's click on that and show you that. That's 144.4, and then back to today's dot, 139.4. So you can see how things are going for me. And now for the morning fasting glucose. So get out some test strips. 1, 2, 3, and close that. And the meter, and that goes into the end of the phone. And does it pop up a message this morning? Yes, it does. So we'll stick that test strip in and draw a drop of blood to the end of the test strip, to the pipette end. Bring another drop up while it's still fresh so I don't have to stick again. 79, wonderful. Now let's see what the other results are going to be, because I want a number within 3 digits. Another drop of blood. 81, okay. Oops, don't mess up my test strips here. And I'm going to go ahead and take a third number just to compare what they are. $200 a year, and I can use all the test strips I want. 86. Okay, we're not getting any closer to what I want to see. I should have just been happy with the first one, but I'm not. I mean, I was, but I don't want to go with that, so I'm doing another one. If you're looking for the Dario deal, use my link. It's not an affiliate, but I think it's the only way you're going to get a $200 annual subscription. If you go looking on your own, you're going to find something way more expensive. And the link that I'm using, sharing, still works. I keep checking it. All right, so I have two 81s. I'm going to go with that as my morning fasting glucose. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to enter it. It's going on the Data-Driven Fasting app, but I'm going to enter it as a pre-meal as well as a waking. So I'm going to hit track. I'll do it twice, and the reason I'm going to do it a before meal number is because that's how my trigger is calculated. So I'm going to hit done. I am leaving the blue will you eat box checked, because then that number will be used for calculating my trigger. Congratulations, your blood glucose is close enough to your personal trigger. Time to eat a nutritional meal. I intend to. Close that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and track it, put it down again as waking. And then I'll just have it in here twice. So I have a waking record and a pre-meal record. That's how I'm going to play that game. And I can see if it took it both times. I can hit navigate and history, and I can see blood glucose waking, blood glucose before meal. So one is timed to 8:33, one's 8:34. Now if you want to change the clock, that's easy enough to do. So let me hit the edit dots, and then I can dial the clock back by 1 minute to 8:33 to match. I'm hitting update, and so now both numbers are the same. 8:33 a.m., 8:33 a.m. Okay, so that's that. I realized I didn't indicate a rating of my hunger on my pre-meal number, but that's not important. That doesn't calculate into the trigger number or not. The trigger is purely calculated by our pre-meal numbers. That's my understanding. So, oh, and I didn't show you my home screen, and I didn't even check for myself. Okay, my trigger is at 81, staying at 81 right now. And then the daily lesson, it has a new question showing what is your end goal. I'm not going to read that right now. I can get to that later today if that daily lesson is still there and hasn't flipped over to the new lesson. I am very hungry because my meal yesterday I finished eating before noon, so I'm ready to break fast now. Well, I have come to the end of day 17 of my 30-day health challenge. I caught myself on the video a couple times saying it was day 16, and so I tried to put some text in there to correct it. I don't know what I was thinking, but it is the end of day 17 of my 30-day health challenge, and I've had a good day. After I ate that big breakfast before church, I haven't been hungry again. I did have food thoughts, but it didn't seem to be driving me a lot, so I think I got enough protein in with those 3 protein crepes that I dressed up with allulose and cinnamon and sugar. And then there was some protein in the kefir that I used in the bowl with quinoa, and quinoa has some protein in it. So I think percentage-wise, I got a good amount of protein in. I probably would have served myself better if I focused on getting in some more nutrition, like maybe a greens drink today. I didn't even think of it. A few minutes ago, I was in my daughter's kitchen and I pulled out a gingerbread cake out of the oven, and I made it Trim Healthy Mama style. The only fat that it has in it are the eggs. I actually replaced the melted butter that was called for, or the butter that was called for, with more zucchini. I credit my middle sister Sarah Gramling with that idea. She taught Martha, our baby sister, and me this summer when we camped in July at on our childhood property where we all three grew up. Sarah was doing some baking and she made a cornbread to go with one of our meals, and instead of using oil in the cornbread, she pureed up some yellow summer squash, and that just added more nutrition to the cornbread, and it pulled back on the fats, which was really nice. So I used that technique when I made my gingerbread cake tonight. So tomorrow is my last full day. Oh, and the reason I could make the cake was because the air conditioning was finally fixed last night before we went to bed. The air was turned on and it felt so good to feel cool air coming through the vents. And so then I knew that today I could go ahead and bake and it wouldn't be hard on us to have the kitchen with the oven going. So I finally got the gingerbread cake made that I wanted, which is good because on Tuesday, today's Sunday evening, on Tuesday I'm flying back to Texas, and I'd like to take a couple pieces of cake with me on the plane as one of the things I will eat when I fly back. So I've got that done, and tomorrow, once it's all cooled, I'm just going to leave it on the stovetop and let it cool overnight. Tomorrow I'll cut it up into serving pieces and wrap them individually in saran wrap for my daughter's family to use and for me to take some with me back to Texas. I just took my evening glucose, so I'm going to bed with a glucose of 91, and I expect that I might have a pretty good glucose when I wake up in the morning because I didn't really have much in the way of fats today. My meal was focused on protein and carbs, so that in Trim Healthy Mama terms, that's an E meal. Boy, the nightlife is loud here. And I looked at the app just before sitting down here, and it did have a new lesson that popped up today in the data-driven fasting app. So the daily lesson for today is, what if my blood sugar rises again before I eat? And it's just a couple short paragraphs. The goal of data-driven fasting is to validate your hunger using your blood glucose. If your blood glucose is below your trigger when you feel hungry, you have successfully depleted the glycogen in your liver and have started to burn body fat. You are ready to refuel again. When the people test again before they eat, some have found that their blood glucose may have risen while preparing their meals. That's happened to me. It is perfectly normal for your body to release glucose into your bloodstream when anticipating food is coming, as part of the normal process of maintaining a stable blood glucose, and if it gets stressed by low blood glucose and hunger. So all three things can cause your glucose to rise even though you've gone down to your personal trigger. The secret here in data-driven fasting is not to test again. Go ahead and eat if you are hungry and your blood glucose has dipped below your trigger. This is one of the downsides we see with people using continuous glucose monitors, as it can provide more data than necessary. In data-driven fasting, and this is the end, we want to use the minimum effective dose of measurement to ensure you move progressively rather than become overwhelmed and give up before you reach your goal. So that's the end of that. My trigger hasn't changed. It's 81. Did I put in my pre-meal number today? Let me look at history. I remember now, this morning, I did it this morning because I was going to eat that breakfast. And so my waking fasting glucose was also the same number entered in before meal. And that was an 81. So right now, my hunger trigger, my personal hunger trigger is still sitting at 81, and I met it this morning. Then I had that big meal before church, and I never got hungry again. And I think that is taking advantage of the circadian rhythm of the body. And the earlier you eat in the day, the better the metabolism in order to go ahead and process that meal. And eating late at night, flip side. The later you eat at night, the more likely you're going to see higher glucose numbers in the morning, because that late night meal is keeping the metabolism working through the night. So that's the end of day 17 of my 30-day health challenge, and I will start over with a new day tomorrow, day 18. Good night.